friends, and welcome back to my channel. It is so excited to have you here, and if we are meeting for the very first time, hello and welcome. My name is Michelle and I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and as you can tell from the title of this video, well, one, I'm heading to Walt Disney World incredibly soon, which is super exciting, and two, this is actually going to be an updated version of this video of what I put in my park bag. So we have a lot to cover. If you are curious about kind of what to bring, maybe this is your first time heading to Walt Disney World and you're just, don't really know what to bring with you to the parks, or maybe this is your 10th or 100th time and you're just looking for like an updated thing or just getting some new ideas. I've traveled to Disney World a ton of times. I actually used to work at the parks, and over the course of the last several years, even from when I filmed my very last packing essentials or park bag essentials video, from when I filmed that to this one, a lot has changed. So I wanted to keep you updated. So if you are curious about what those items are, I hope you keep watching. Okay, so the very first thing, of course, as you can imagine, is getting a really good park bag. So you can see this has changed from my last video. I actually still have the bag that I used in the last video. It's a travel-on bag, but quite frankly, it was a little bit too small for what I needed it for. I typically bring a GoPro with me, obviously for filming, with me to the parks, and there's a couple items that I also bring with me, and that bag just wasn't big enough. So I actually found this bag on Amazon. It's called Bagalini. It's very cool because it's got a lot of the same safety features for traveling that the travel-on bag had. So I just thought I'll walk it through you really quickly. So you can see, obviously it's got a really big pouch here. There's another big pouch here, which is actually perfect for my cell phone. There's a couple of additional pockets on the sides if you want to put some things in there. And then of course you've got like your main gigantic compartment, inside that you can put a bunch of things in. So I actually have already tested this bag because truth be told, and I recommend this for you, if you're heading to the parks and you buy a bag for the first time, use it for a couple of weeks prior to your trip. One, it helps to break the bag in, specifically the straps, and two, it gives you a really good idea is if the bag will actually work for you for really long periods of time. Because one of the things to consider is, you're in the parks for hours and hours and hours, and having a really good park bag, one, it helps save your back, and two, just it makes things a lot easier when you have a really good one. So this is the main bag, but I'll tell you one of my favorite features, and I hope you can see it, but it has an entire pocket on the back, and this is for your wallet. Rather than having to like bring a big bulky wallet, it has the pouch in the back for you, which is brilliant. And then it's got this really cool hook, if you see it right here, that attaches the zippers, so you can actually lock it to make it more secure. And I love this feature. I'm really excited to use this bag. In fact, I tested it out. We went to Six Flags here in Georgia a couple of weeks ago, and I tested it at that park just to see if it would work. And we were there, I think like 6.5 hours, and it worked perfectly. I loved it. My back didn't hurt. It went really, really nicely. So I'm really excited about that. I have two bags actually back there. I'll overlay some footage for you to see it. Of course, one should come as no surprise if you saw my last video, because yes, I still have that exact same park bag, and it is my favorite one. And these bags are one, like the orange bag you're seeing behind me, that's actually Adam's park bag. It's really cool because it's got a bladder inside of it so that he can actually bring water into the park. That's his version of a water bottle. You'll see mine in just a minute. But it's really cool because like his park bag is awesome. He's gonna bring that with him probably all the time, just because like he brings extra socks and shoes, clothes, things of that nature, and he likes to have his park bag to be able to do that. And the cool thing is, as well, is it actually has a cover in case it rains, because if you don't know, it rains in Florida. In fact, it's kind of like a running joke with the locals, like from 2 to 4 p.m., you can pretty much guarantee that there's going to be some kind of thunderstorm that's going to pop in, even if the forecast may not even say it. So we are definitely preparing for rain for this trip, because I feel like sometimes it's Murphy's Law. Like if you prepare for it, maybe you'll get lucky and it won't happen. So all that to be said, the park bag, of course, is the most essential thing to kickstart you off for your trip. And I highly recommend investing in a good one. And like I said, be sure to use it a couple weeks prior to your trip so that you know it's going to work for you. Okay, the next thing, and I just talked about it a little bit, is how much it rains. You should definitely be prepared for a lot of rain. And so I bring, if I kind of even see that there's even a smidgen of a chance that it's gonna rain, I'm gonna bring that big bag that's behind me, and I'm gonna bring specifically 2 items to help me. So one, and this is actually, I think I shared this in the last one, are these super cute rain, these are water shoes. And I found these on Amazon, and I actually have worn them so much over the last 3.5 years that I've stretched out my old ones. So these are brand new. I'm really excited to get another pair. So if you're curious and you want a pair of these, they're incredibly comfortable. I have worn these all day at the parks with absolutely no problem whatsoever. I've been at the parks and worn them when it's been, you know, a torrential downpour, and these were great. Because what I end up doing is I usually wear tennis shoes to the parks, and then if it rains, I'll put these on so I can still travel around the park if it's a monsoon outside and completely be fine. So highly recommend a pair of water shoes if you don't have them. These, like I said, are on Amazon. I will link it down below for you, but these are fantastic. I cannot recommend them enough. And the next thing to help you kind of get through, and this is new, I've not used this before, but in my last video, I suggested a poncho. I will always suggest a poncho. Bring your own poncho because the ponchos in the parks are ridiculously expensive, not to mention the fact that more than likely you won't be able to reuse them. So I'm all about trying to be able to reuse things, and I found on Instagram the cutest idea, and I don't want to take it out of the bag, but I found these paunch ears. I hope you can see this. And I found this shop on Instagram, and it is such a cool idea. So, and I'll insert a picture from her Instagram so that you can see it, and I'll link it below if you're curious of buying your own. But essentially it is a poncho for when you're wearing your mini ears. So it goes over your mini ears. So your mini, one, you don't have to take them off, and 2, it keeps your mini ears dry. It is like the most brilliant thing that someone has invented. It is awesome. So I'm excited to bring that with me. And I will say, for those of you that saw the last packing video, you might be saying, well, what about the old poncho? I will tell you that poncho, while it saved me from a torrential downpour, it was one of the hottest things I ever wore at the parks. I was miserable wearing that poncho. So it's a good poncho, but I would recommend something that can be a little bit airy, just because in Florida, the rain, it causes so much humidity, plus it's really warm in Florida. So I'm really excited to try this. The reviews of this are really highly recommended. Actually, my friend Kristen, Running in Makeup, she has one of these and she swears by it too. So I went by her recommendation and just went ahead and purchased one. So I'm really excited. As weird as this might sound, I hope it rains because I want to try it. But either way, that is my new poncho for this year for my park bag. The next thing I'm going to go to, and you guys might think this is silly, but when Adam and I went to the park the last time, we were one of those families. We love going to the parks super early in the morning. We take a midday break around lunch, and then we close the park at night. And that's what we did the last time. It worked so wonderfully. If you don't know and you've never been to the parks, just a quick tip from me to you, the crowds early morning and very late at night, like park open and park close, the crowds, it's pretty much empty, especially at park closing. A lot of families, you know, they kind of retire for the night, probably right around dinner time. And so a lot of the times, like, you know, from 8 to 11 p.m., like a lot of the parks are open from 8 to 11 p.m. this trip, which we're so excited about. But because it's super dark, we were trying to take selfie pictures in front of a lot of, you know, in front of the castle, in front of the, you know, the big giant ball, and in front of Spaceship Earth, things of that nature, and places around the World Showcase. Well, the lighting on our phones just they weren't cooperating. And so Amazon, of course, is amazing and suggested a product, and you guys are probably gonna think it's ridiculous, but I've already tested this. And holy smokes, it is amazing. It is one of the coolest things. And so I actually found, for when we're there at night, a selfie ring. If you can see this, the selfie light ring that goes, it goes over your phone and it lights up, and it has 3 settings. It's rechargeable, like you just plug it into a USB, and I'm plugging it into my phone so you can see. So this is what it looks like. Is this not the cutest thing? And I tried this at home one night, like, you know, I just did like a quick, like I turned off all the lights, and I think I had some background lighting on it on our TV, and I took a picture with it, and Adam was just like, first of all, he was like, this is ridiculous. Like, he thinks it's funny, not like ridiculous in a bad way. But once he saw how well the pictures turned out, I mean, he was like, I can't wait to take this to Disney because we're gonna get epic pictures. So it's incredibly affordable. I think this thing was like $11 or $12 on Amazon. Of course, I will link it below for you. It was one of the coolest finds so far this year. I'm really excited to bring this along, especially for those evening photos. It'll be really exciting to have that with me. So it's kind of a silly thing. I wouldn't say it's necessarily an essential, but if you are like me and you love to take photos at the parks, I think that's a really good tool to use, especially for nighttime photos. So, but if we're talking about daytime, let's kind of flip back to daytime, which is when probably a majority of you are visiting. It's surprising to me how many people I see without these. So these are sunglasses. You can buy, just bring a pair of sunglasses. That's my recommendation. I specifically get the Gooder brand one. I mean, I'm a runner, so I use these for my Run Disney trips and any races that I race. But I bring these, one, because they're incredibly affordable, so I won't be upset if for some reason I lose them, and two, they're very light. Like, I can wear these, not get a headache. They have the polarization in them, so you know, they protect your eyes from the sun, because if you've never traveled to Florida, it's like insanely bright when it is sunny outside. So be sure to bring a good pair of sunglasses. It's one of the things that has surprised me on the last few trips, is seeing how many people aren't protecting their eyes. Just kind of strange. But speaking of the sun, the other thing that is like the most essential ingredient is sunscreen. So be sure to bring lots of sunscreen. I will tell you, when we went back in December, I actually got sunburned one of the days we were there. I wasn't even thinking to like because it was kind of like a cloudy day. It's just, I was being silly. I was like Disney exhausted. It was like the last day of our trip, and I didn't put on sunscreen that morning, and my shoulders, like I was wearing a tank top, and my shoulders and my arms just got I mean, I wasn't sunburned badly, but I definitely was red. And so anyways, all that to be said, be sure to bring your sunscreen, bring it into the parks with you so you can reapply it, because of course, if you're gonna sweat, that's why we get the Sport brand. I'm sure you can see this as a copper tone. I'm trying to get it to focus over here. But this is a copper tone brand. That's really great, and so it's a sport version, so that even when you sweat a lot, this one's really good to use. So highly recommend bringing some sunscreen. And talking about how hot it is, this is one of the things that has actually stayed consistent, and this bad boy is one of my favorite things for going to a theme park. And this fan, I'm telling you, is amazing. It is rechargeable just by using like a USB, and if you can hear it, it's got 3 speeds. Like, this thing, it's, you know, even Beyonce would like it, right? Because, I mean, it kicks. It is great. I've used it pretty much on every single theme park trip. It's lovely because it folds up really nicely and it fits right into my park bag. It's not heavy at all, so it gets really hot, and some of the queues, especially at Hollywood Studios, I don't know why they designed it that way, but there's like hardly any shade in Hollywood Studios, so this has become like critical for us and essential for us to bring on those park days. So definitely recommend a fan or a cooling towel or something like that, something that's going to help cool you off, because it gets really, really hot in Florida. And speaking of hot, one of the key things that I definitely need to remind you of when you are at the parks is to make sure that you're staying hydrated. So one of the things that I always bring, and this is my Disney themed all day, every day, and I got this off Shop Disney, so I'm not sure these are even available anymore, but I highly recommend bringing like a stainless steel water bottle with you, because you can fill these from all the water fountains across the park. Fun fact, my favorite water fountain still to this day, I think it is the coldest water I've ever found at any theme park, is the one at Rapunzel's bathroom in Magic Kingdom. First of all, I love the area. The bathrooms are spectacular. They're always so immaculately clean there. But the water there is like ice ice cold. So I'll fill this puppy up, especially when I'm at Magic Kingdom, but really all the parks, and I'll just fill it up throughout the day. Another fun fact, if you've never traveled to the theme parks before and you might not be aware, you can go to any quick service restaurant and ask for a cup of water and they will provide it to you for free. So don't be, even some places I've seen, they have like the big jugs of water outside and you can fill these. And then Disney, I've noticed that some of like the newer park areas, they actually have the water bottle stations. If I see it when I'm at the parks, I'll highlight it in one of the videos. I know specifically there's one at Flight of Passage. I think there's one in the Rise of Resistance queue as well. Maybe, I can't remember. Either way, when I see them, I'll definitely point them out in the video so that you guys know. But these water bottles are so clutch for your trips. One, because if you're not aware, a bottle of water at Disney World costs like $5, which is ridiculous for, I think it's like 16 ounces of water. And I drink a ton of water, so I want to keep hydrated. And I love these water bottles because the other thing I'm gonna suggest you bringing is, this one's called Propel. It's electrolytes, you know, it's like Gatorade. Propel is made by Gatorade. And I love this. I can drink this. I drink this all the time. I love it. It's just so, so good. So what you do is you just take this, it's a packet, and you literally, it's kind of like if you've ever had Crystal Light or like one of those flavor packets that you put into water, that's what these are. So whether it's Liquid IV or Propel, whatever it may be, I highly recommend bringing those with you because you just want to be sure that you're nice and hydrated for your trip. Okay, so the next thing I'm actually going to talk about really quickly, and I forgot to mention it with the sunglasses, but they go hand in hand, is bring some lens wipes with you. I learned this on the last trip. Actually, Adam had some of these, and I'm so glad he did. So I actually went on Amazon and purchased a couple of these that I can just throw into my bag. So, you know, they just come in these little packets to wipe your sunglasses, because there's a lot of times either I would put my sunglasses like over my head, or I'd be handling them and they would get like oil on them or sweat, and it just makes cleaning them a lot easier. So anyways, they're really inexpensive. It might be silly to bring something like this, but I just noticed the last time I didn't realize like how often I use these until Adam brought them along. So it's just kind of one of those things that it's not necessarily an essential, but it did make things a lot easier to like clean our glasses pretty frequently. So I just recommend it. It was a nice little additive touch. And then I have two more things and then we are done, at least with this version. So the next thing is incredibly critical. So this is my little first aid kit, if you can see it. Hopefully it's focusing. And these are from Amy's Small World. She makes the cutest little bags. I'll link her shop below. She's so great. But I do this so you can see there's Neosporin. I've got some flushing wipes in there. I've got some floss, and then, you know, Band-Aids, things of that nature. Adam puts these things called dude wipes in there, which are so funny. Like if you just like want to kind of like take a, wipe yourself off and try to make yourself feel clean. And then I've got some hand sanitizer wipes. And I've got a ton of Band-Aids. So these are like the gauze style Band-Aids, and then these are normal Band-Aids. And then behind it, I have these little strips that if you get blisters on the back of your ankles, which I typically get them all the time. I actually have scars on the back of my ankles because I get them so frequently from wearing shoes. But you can actually take it, and it's really cool, and it like literally adheres to your ankles, flush. And so you can wear those to kind of help alleviate getting blisters and things of that nature. So this is like, I take this with me at all times. The only thing that's not in here, that's typically in here, is I'll add a couple of essential oils to here. I'll bring peppermint and orange just to kind of wake me up. I put a couple drops in my hand and I'll just smell it, which I know sounds really strange, but it's kind of like an instant pick-me-up for those like mid-afternoon crashes. And then I'll bring one called Digestin, which actually helps with like stomach support if your stomach is feeling a little bit ill. And then what else do I bring? Oh, there's another one that's for like immune boosting that I also bring. So those aren't in here yet. I usually add those in like right before I go to the parks, but this thing is critical and I highly recommend bringing them. If you don't want to bring a first aid kit, know that every single Disney park has one, a little first aid center that you can go to. You can ask for Band-Aids. I think you can ask for pretty much a variety of things. They have a baby center if you need things like that. But I just find like if I'm in a line, it just makes things so much easier when you have it here and you can just kind of go on your own time without having to like go and search the parks for things. So, all right, so my very last thing that I'm going to suggest is, and I haven't taken it out of the bag because I literally went to Costco like yesterday, but bring some snacks with you. One of the things that has been so essential for our family is just, you know, sometimes all of a sudden you're in a line and then you're just like, you go from 0 to hangry in like a millisecond. It's happened to me, it's happened to Adam, it happened to LC on our last trip where we all were just like super hungry really quickly and we were standing in a line and it's like, well, you can't get out of line to go get food or things of that nature. So I have become that woman that I carry snacks with me at all times. I usually have Kind bars with me. I'll have, these are like little granola bites. They're berry, blueberry and chocolate flavored. They're separate ones. So I'll bring a couple of those with me. Adam loves these like breakfast bars that you can get at Publix. They're like the Greenwise brand. So I'll bring a couple of those for him. So we are covered. It helps us to like keep feeling nourished until we can either get to our lunch reservation or to be able to mobile order at a quick service restaurant. It's just really one of those things like we just decided to just go ahead and bring along with all of our park trips. So it just made things a lot easier. So I highly recommend bringing snacks, whatever it is for you, almonds, fruit, nuts, things of that nature. You know, make sure to bring that with you to the parks because more often than not, because of how much you're running around and walking miles and miles a day, your body's just burning so many calories that it just needs to stay nourished. So stay hydrated and bring snacks. All right, so I have covered quite a few things on this list. I know that this is probably not for every single person. I know that there's probably a lot of items that you might be saying, hey, you forgot about this, or what about this as a suggestion? Make sure to comment those below. It's always really helpful for me to hear from you, one, what the different kind of feedback, what you bring in your park bags. I'm always looking for, you know, different ideas because this will definitely not be my last Disney trip. So it's always cool to hear what others bring in their park bags, what's essential to you. But these are just some of the items that we've realized on this trip, you know, from our last trip to this trip that are absolutely essential to us. So let me know down in the comments below, what are your essentials? What do you absolutely have to bring with you on your trips? It'd be really cool to hear from you. And if you've got a trip coming up, comment below and let me know what your countdown is because I want to celebrate along with you. I know how fun it is to count down the days to heading to Walt Disney World. It's super fun. So this is the beginning of a lot of videos coming to this channel for our upcoming trip. So if you want to follow along with our adventures, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Give this video a thumbs up if you don't mind. And I look forward to seeing you really, really soon. Bye.